Issue 60. That's a good reason for why Sonic should save Grimer, though not a good reason against him simply killing him. Eggman tells Sonic that if the Metalics have a scientist like Grimer with them, they'll be a bigger threat. And he reveals that the Brotherhood of Metalics has sealed all entrances to the Special Zone, and the only way in is the star post he has. Then say he sealed almost all entrances then. Sonic says threateningly, but if this turns out to be a trick, well, let's just say I'll be back. I love that. Sonic checks the Egg Fortress and finds Grimer, who's told that if he's lied and the device fails to function for the Metalics, he won't be able to hide from them. Sonic takes the Alpha device, kills the Metal Sonic, and when he's told that Grimer's life is on the line, he naturally is an audience surrogate saying that he has no reason to help him. Sadly, upon being told that he lacks a killer instinct, despite all the robots he destroyed, Sonic stupidly agrees right then and there and just hands them the Alpha device like an idiot, admitting later they made a mistake by saving Grimer. Remember, he saved Grimer's life. Grimer owes Sonic his life. Remember that for the things he'll do against them later on. In the next story, Errol in his monster form says he was made strong while possessed by evil forces, and Knuckles is advised to leave him to Tails. Fortunately, he says fuck you to the idea, metaphorically speaking, by punching the monster, and for the sake of cover, Tails goes along with the idea to call Knuckles Sonic in the Nameless Zone. And this additional lie should create even more problems for him, because won't they find out about the real Sonic eventually? Not to mention I have a very hard time believing that Tails' letters never mention Sonic's super speed. It's right there in the name. So people should logically be expecting Knuckles to move at Sonic's speed and getting suspicious when he never does. Logically, they should figure out he's not Sonic. Knuckles says amusingly about being called Sonic. Everyone keeps saying that, so I suppose it must be true. Knuckles defeats the monster, which is imprisoned in a stock, with Knuckles being smart enough to advise them to make sure he's guarded night and day out of paranoia. Knuckles says that Tails will have a plan. I'm reminded by Tails' confusion of how horribly off Tails is in this comic. And Knuckles says that he's helping Tails keep his cover because he doesn't want to embarrass them, which is sweet. And because, as he's a great audience surrogate for saying, it's a relief to be in a zone where people don't worship that little blue show-off. Yeah, and they worship Tails instead. Tails doesn't have a plan, and his speech clearly proves it, but I'm sure there will be no consequences to that, or to the fact that Knuckles is clearly going to be showing up Tails the entire time, and should get as much, if not more, respect than him. The story ends with them going to the land beyond over the bridge with Tails in his lightning armor, and Knuckles showing faith in Tails. Aww. How messed up is it that Knuckles is more of a big brother to him than Sonic is? I wish we saw them together a lot more often. I think the amount of times they're going to have adventure together, and without Sonic there, can be counted on one hand. In the final story, we see that the tougher badniks get sent to Green Hill Zone, and then for some reason they start destroying the Green Hill Zone badniks, which Eggman shouldn't have programmed them to decide to do. The Badnik Repair Squad, including the Obsessed with Hammers guy, destroys some robots with their laser shooter and hammer, and the woman says that they won't be able to get to the tougher badniks from Palm Tree Panic under control, now that they've seen how fun it is to defeat other badniks. And then they win. The first story was by Nacho Kitchen, and was about Sonic stupidly saving Grimer's life from Netflix by giving them back the Alpha device instead of destroying it, running away at the speed of sound. Sonic, you have no idea what you've just done. You're gonna live to regret this for the rest of your life. And it feels so forced too, because he just made a good point about why you shouldn't save him. Couldn't he have destroyed the Alpha device and ran away while carrying Grimer? The second story, by Nitro Kitchen again, is about Knuckles defeating Errol and imprisoning him, suggesting a guard for him, and reassuring Tails that he's on his side to cover for him, and even show some faith in him. 2 issues and they haven't even left the beginning of the Nameless Zone yet. It wouldn't be so slow-paced if the third story didn't exist, because then there'd be more comic space available. And the story arc brings up the question of why Knuckles won't be figured out with Sonic from basic logic, as in his lack of Sonic speed. And plus Knuckles will be upstaging Tails every step of the way, while Tails will probably do almost nothing cool, which is good in its own way, but should really result in Knuckles getting a champion reputation as well. And the third story by Mark Giles involves the tougher badniks assigned to destroy the Green Hill Zone badniks. If for some reason the badnik repair squad tries to stop them and starts destroying badniks by themselves because they assume more badniks is better, when there was never any indication given that Eggman would care if this happened. He just wanted the Green Hill Zone badniks replaced with stronger ones. Instead, these one-dimensional cardboard boxes will probably come back to Eggman and get in huge trouble for what they've done, hopefully, and hopefully that means we'll never see them again.